We're back here once again on the Alabama Football Report. Today, as promised, we're taking a more in-depth look at this 2024 Alabama football roster by position. Now, we'll go more in-depth with all these positions later on, but just a general overarching view of a very, very different team than what I thought it would be before Nick Saban called the surprise retirement. Are you excited for the 2024 season for Alabama? If you are, which I think every person should be, like today's video right now. We begin at quarterback, a four-man group that is undergone some change. Jalen Milroe, the starter, Ty Simpson, your top backup, then Dylan Longergan, and Austin Mack, the transfer from Washington. I am very excited to see Jalen Milroe in this system. His best trait this past year was the deep ball. You know what Washington did a lot of? Deep balls with Michael Penix. Now, better receiving core than what Bama will have this year because that had a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick probably. But I think you'll see Bama push the ball in 2024. He does need to improve that intermediate game. Hitting those middle-of-the-field digs are an important throw, more so for the NFL, but also for college. I am curious what the new system will do. Will it lead to competition? You know, could the new guy Austin Mack impress? That's clearly the long-term piece, or at least one of the guys that hopefully is a long-term piece under Kalen DeBoer. How does Ty Simpson fit in the new scheme? How does Dylan Longergan fit in the new scheme? I have faith in Jalen Milroe. He should still be among the Heisman contenders, and I hope that Kalen DeBoer gets his offense to maximize Milroe. In particular, you have to utilize his legs. You try to make him a pure drop back like Michael Penix was, not going to go as well. I wonder how Ty Simpson fits. You know, he didn't get to do that much this past season under Tommy Rees. Maybe a new scheme will fit him pretty well. I can't wait to see how Austin Mack fares. You know, that's the guy DeBoer picked. DeBoer's got a pretty good feel for quarterback play. I can't wait to see how it all plays out, not just in spring and in fall, but over the next year and 2 years, even beyond that. I'm optimistic Matt can, make us not feel bad about losing Julian Sam. So could this new offensive system spark competition, not just for quarterback, but across the board? I think it's a resounding yes. Sound off for me in the comments section right now. There might not be a spot I'm more excited about than running back. I can't wait to see Justice Haynes get a chance to emerge and ball out as the lead back for Alabama with J.M. Miller RB2 and then the young guys behind him. Haynes and Miller are, I think, pretty clearly 1 and 2 in this order. Don't forget about Richard Young, just because ESPN has no headshot for him. He's a bigger type of body, got kind of more of the bowling ball build for a runner. That could be really valuable in cleanup roles, short yardage situations, being involved in some goal line work there. All of that makes sense. And then you give Kevin Riley, Daniel Hill some time to grow as freshmen. Now, I am also excited about college football 2025 coming on in and being back, fully back. In a way it hasn't been in a very long time. So with that in mind, using the expected rating scale, rate the Bama roster 1 to 99. I remember the NCAA 14, you all got 99s by the stretch. I'm sure it'll be a little bit lower this time around. It's the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Wide receiver, again, also undergoing some massive change. But there is talent here. Jeremy Bernard's going to come in and be a key part. He was wide receiver 4 for the Huskies, was going to be their number 1 guy if the board not left. I think he'll be number 1 in Alabama. And there is some experience. Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, who could be a really fun piece in the DeBoer offense. Jalen Hale offers you some vertical threat. All the other recent young guys, all your impact 5-star freshmen led by Ryan Williams certainly stand out. Wide receiver, even on offense, is not tops on my worry list. It's near the bottom. There's tons of talent there. It's not proven talent, but I feel better about that group than a lot of the other spots on this roster right now. Bernard's going to play a key role for you in 2024. I have hopes for Emmanuel Henderson / Kendrick Law being some fun pieces for you. Your freshman class is very talented. You kept Ryan Williams. You added Amari Jefferson and others. This could be an impact class at freshman. And I can't wait to see if Ryan Williams makes an early impact. Maybe not even week 1, week 2, but come late in the year, one of those freshmen will be playing a massive role for you and have you excited about them entering their second seasons. Over to tight end now, and this could undergo some change here that we'll certainly keep an eye on for. You added Josh Cuevas. We mentioned that on a recent video as a transfer. I don't know how big of a role he's going to play. He was a backup for Washington, so maybe just added depth. I think C.J. Dupree is most likely still tight end 1. He's the experienced guy that can do some inline stuff for you as well. I'm not sure he's going to end up as the best one of this group. Might come down to what you want them to do. Ty Lockwood is a good athlete. Caleb Odom, when we go more in depth on tight end, we'll go more in depth on this. He might play receiver or that big slot receiver role that kind of blends the line between your move tight ends that are in the slot and your just big receivers lined up in the slot. But Odom's a good athlete. Robbie Utes and Daniel Lewis Jr. are the blockers, which I kind of want to see how DeBoer utilizes these tight ends. Because I don't have a great feel for it, because they didn't use them in Washington. They also had 3 elite receivers, plus, Bernard as receiver 4. So they were in, multiple receiver sets a lot. I do like how they used Jack Westover to a lesser extent, but he's not going to be maybe your tight ends get featured more if we still count Caleb Odom, short-term, long-term at that spot. So when it comes to receiving, who will lead Alabama in receiving yards in 2024? Get your predictions in for me in the comment section right now. The offensive line. I think you have 4 starters you can pencil in here. Elijah Pritchett, Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts, and another spot to be determined. Wilkin Formby, Miles McVay, maybe one of your other interior linemen. We'll get to that in a minute. End up emerging. The biggest question are going to be your tackles. I think the Booker, Brailsford, Roberts trio, I feel great about those. I think Elijah Pritchett will be one. I'd assume left tackle, maybe right tackle, which maybe would have been the plan had they not lost in the transfer portal. You could also try Tyler Booker at tackle, maybe on the right side to help mitigate some speed concerns. And then you plug Casey Poe in there. There's been some early buzz on him. Maybe he could slide in at guard potentially. Regardless, that other starting spot, whether it's left tackle, right tackle, one of the guards, there will be an experience there. And that is a battle that might not be wrapped up, certainly not by spring, maybe not by fall. Maybe it's kind of like what you saw this year when you were rotating, Caden Proctor and Pritchett in there at left tackle for a little bit. Maybe there's still some competition, to come at one of those spots. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You're picking 2 to 6 player stat projections, more than or less than on those stat projections. And you don't have to worry about beating thousands of other people and pros and sharks and sharps. It's not how it works. You just got to beat the numbers. You just got to win 2 out of 3 if you're on the flex play, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5. Now, obviously, there's Bama basketball to do. There's NBA coming in. They've also brought in their MLB picks, season-long picks you can do. How about 2 Braves? I guess would be most Bama fans' go-to team, locally to an extent. We'll go more than homers for Austin Riley and Ronald Acuna Jr. Freddie Freeman, speaking of former Braves, more than homers and hits, and Aaron Nola, more than strikeouts. Season-long picks, do the flex play, boosts your chances of winning, because I'm really good about getting all but one right. The flex play makes me right in the end. Yeah, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for that first deposit match up to $100. The link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. So defensive line, this front 4/5-ish when Bama was in their 3-4 base, it's going to be very, very different in the Kane Womack defense, where you're going to have 2 more defensive tackles. You'll have more of a base defensive end who kind of fits that 3-4 defensive end, and really more 1 pass rusher. You can adjust in obvious passing downs, put another pass rusher out there, etc. But you're going to use kind of 3 defensive linemen, and there's a lot of bodies on this roster. You go incredibly deep at this group. The main starters have tons of experience. Smith, I'm still optimistic about Jaheim Otis. You got Tim Keenan in there. I think stopping the run will be fairly easy for you, and you'll probably have a pretty big rotation. I could see James Smith breaking out. Latham playing a big role as he enters his final year. Well, I'm assuming COVID chaos not impacting there. Damon Payne could break out for you. There's a lot of pieces on this defensive line depth chart, and you might see a very heavy rotation that'll keep guys fresh all season long. Edge rusher is a little bit different now. You're not going to always have two guys out the way you used to do. You might only have one on certain times. There is not a ton of experience here after losing two starters in Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner, but there is talent. Quandarius Robinson, Keon Keeley, even Keanu Coate, I think are very promising young players. This is a reloading for Alabama. And I think, although the rotation might not be as deep as it's been previously, I think they're going to have some impact plays from this group. Keeley and Robinson have all the upside in the world. Quay Russaw could potentially earn some time beyond Coate as well. You don't need as many edges, and I think there will still be times, it's 3rd and 13, they're not going to go 2 DTs, a base defensive end, and 1 pass rusher. They'll bring on an extra pass rusher. So I think rotation overall going to be key for this team. We'll have more Alabama football YouTube videos for you all season long. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Linebacker's pretty easy. We'll still call it Mike and Will. Might be some differentiation with the current setup, but yeah, it's potato in the end. Deontae, Lawson, Jihaad, Campbell, they are back as your starters. They are not going to go anywhere. And you got to feel great about that group, right? You got to be hyped that Deontae Lawson came back after a great season. He could have gone pro and been a top 100-ish pick, I would wager. So your starters are set, and that is a good thing because you want to have some stability in the spine of your defense. The depth is the question mark here. You got to figure it's Jefferson and Alexander who are the next men up in some order. And they could also maybe get some run at edge rusher and maybe even get creative and, give some reps to one of your edges at inside linebacker in certain situations. But health will be key. You need to keep Lawson and Campbell healthy for an entire season. Otherwise, that next man up at inside linebacker hasn't actually played that much. Finally, it is the secondary. And this is the one that when we look at it now versus when it was week 1, it could be very, very different. I think Keon Sabb's going to start for you. I think Domani Jackson's going to start for you. I know Malachi Moore is going to start for you in kind of that safety nickel linebacker overhang role. It is everything else I have no idea. Who the hell starts as CB2 if Domani Jackson's corner 1? Is it a true freshman? Do you try Tony Mitchell? Is it Jaleel Hurley? I don't know what it's going to look like. Who's your other safety if Sabb's one of them? Is it Devonta Smith? Is it Mitchell? Do you try it with Sabb now in the fold? Maybe it's more likely Malachi Moore stays in that kind of husky role, which was the star role, because you have one starter back there. Do you try Sabb in that role? Possible. This could change significantly, and you will need your true freshman to make an impact for you. Because no position group, I would argue understandably so given Nick Saban's preferences, underwent more change this offseason. 10 guys left. That's insane. It's a very different group than what we saw last year. And thank goodness Malachi Moore came back, or, man, you would have very, very little experience.